Hey everyone, Mike Slo-Mo Brenner here, talking lap steel, and especially lap steel with these Duesenberg hand pedals added. Firstly, this instrument is super cool. It's called an Indie Rail, and it was built by Christopher Fouke in Benton, Illinois, for his industrial guitars company, and he does a whole line of steels, baritone steels, and regular upright guitars and baritone uprights, and they're all basically industrial looking. This is all aluminum, indestructible, and I had actually owned this guitar for several years, and it needed some repairs, and around that time I, like many other lap steel players, I think, started to get interested in what you could do with these Duesenberg hand pedals. And I had seen a video of a gentleman, a German musician named Martin Huch or Huch, and he actually was key in the design of these pedals. And if you want to see real master at using those, definitely search YouTube for Martin Huch or Huch, H-U-C-H, and he is phenomenal. I am definitely more of a novice on these, but I have been working on them, and I sort of made some observations and had some ideas that maybe if you're in the same position, you have a lap steel, maybe you bought a new Duesenberg lap steel, these come stock on that, or maybe you added these to an existing steel. I would say I'm a somewhat experienced lap steel player, but still a novice on this, and maybe more importantly, I am, let's say, an intermediate level pedal steel player. And some of the ideas that I learned on pedal steel, I was able to apply on these hand pedals. I thought it might interest some of you. Firstly, this steel is 6-string, it's in open D tuning, and so that's low to high, D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. Okay, and this pedal, the one farthest from me on the treble side, this is attached to the A string, the 2nd string, and it raises it a whole step to a B. Now, I don't want to get too much into the crazy tuning of pedal steels, but typically when you're tuning a note that's going to be the major third of the next chord, if you're tuning your pedal steel, then you're going to flatten that bit, you're going to sweeten it a little bit. So if I look on my tuner, that's probably A straight up 440, but the note I'm tuning it to when I raise it is probably a couple cents flat of the B. So it's a B, a couple cents flat. There are many discussions about how to sweeten tunings. You can check those out on your own, but typically that's what I'm doing. And in the opposite fashion, the B pedal, I'm calling these the A and B pedal for reasons that I will explain, probably obvious to some of you. The B pedal, the one closest to me, is attached to the 3rd string, which is the F sharp, and it raises it a half step. Now, similarly, I guess the converse idea of the 1st string, where you're tuning A440 to a flattened B, a sweetened B, the F sharp, the open F sharp, is probably a couple cents flat because it's the major third of the D chord. Okay, so and that goes up to a G, that moves up to a G, a half step, and the G is tuned pretty much straight A440. So the overall cumulative effect of pressing both pedals at once, taking the open chord, the 5th interval, the A, to a B, the 6th, and the open 3rd to a 4 is, as everyone probably already knows, moves your chord up a fourth. So we have an open D, and I'm really just focusing on the top 4 strings because the bottom 2 are not really being affected by the pedals. I'm sure there are ways of integrating those bottom 2 strings to your pedal bending, but for now we're just going to focus on the top 4 strings. So if I play those top 4, I have an open D chord. If I engage my pedals, now I have an open G chord. If I move up my bar 2 frets to the 2nd fret, keeping the levers down, I have the 5 chord, I have my A chord. And back, keeping pedals down, G, and then of course the glist that everyone likes, back to the home chord, the open D, back to the 1, okay? Here's one thing that I found out. Maybe it's obvious to some, it wasn't obvious to me. I started playing steel guitar on dobro and play most of my electric 6-string lap steels in the same tuning, dobro tuning, which is open G, GBD, GBD, from low to high, 2 major triads. It seems like the choice to use these hand levers, the choice tuning to use these hand levers in conjunction with is the open D. I've seen a million examples of it. The cool thing that I found out was that when you engage the pedals, the top 4 strings actually become open G dobro tuning with the right intervals. 5, 1, 3, 5. I'm ignoring those bottom 2 strings again. So then I discovered that not only is it the same intervals as the G tuning, you basically have your dobro tuning keeping your hand levers down the entire time. You have G, you have A, you have B. With the open strings, there's your B minor, C at the 5th fret, D at the 7th fret, E at the 9th fret. And if you open that top string off on the 9th fret, you have your E7. And then G, the 12th fret, just like I was playing my normal tuning on dobro or lap steel. And then when you release the pedals, of course, you go back down a 4th from G to D. So maybe there's some dobro players out there or G tuning players that don't really want to commit to the D tuning. I didn't have a huge amount of experience on it, but what I found that when you press these pedals down, lo and behold, there is your dobro tuning on the top 4 strings of your 6-string steel. All right, maybe everyone knew that. I did. So here you go. So one thing I wanted to point out that is you can play all your normal G dobro licks with your pedal down, with your levers down. It takes a little time getting used to playing while exerting pressure on these pedals, but you can play all your familiar dobro licks on the lever tuning in open D, but while keeping the pedals engaged. And all those familiar G dobro licks are all right there for you. And then you can still go back to the 1 chord of the D, or wherever you are in the song. It could be a 5 chord then. All right, so let's just a couple of ideas that I took from my rudimentary knowledge of pedal steel that might help you. We're going to talk about, let's take it to the E chord. Now you have an open E at the 2nd fret. Okay, so if we went just normal open strings, 1, 4, 5, we'd have an E at the 2nd fret, A at the 7th fret, a B at the 9th fret. Now once you get to that 5 chord, because you know that engaging the pedals moves it up 4 steps, moves it up a 4th. Now that we're sitting on the 9th fret open, if we engage our pedals, we have the 1 chord, we have the E. We're back to home, which is the same, it's just a different chord voicing as the same E at the 2nd fret. So keeping that in mind, One cool pedal steel thing that people love to do and always sounds great is moving up chord voicings on a glist. So the idea is to hit the chord voicing of E at the 2nd fret, slide it up to the 9th fret, and gradually engage your pedals so you can't hear the pedals being engaged. So hopefully it would sound like this. So I engaged the pedals kind of right at the end, or as I was moving it up. It takes a little while to get that timing right. E to E. Right? Pedals open, pedals close. Okay? And then if you're really dangerous, you could even go to the higher voicing, our 12 frets above the 2nd, which is at the 14th fret. You have a higher voicing of E, so you can go from 2nd fret, pedals open, to 9th fret, pedals closed, to 14th fret, pedals open. Try it backwards. And then if you really want to get tricky, once you get up to that 4th fret, engage the pedals again to hit your 4 chord. So we could go like this. There's your A. And I'll discuss a little bit very soon just that last move right there. It's kind of a key move in pedal steel land, and you can also emulate that on these hand levers. I keep calling them pedals. I think they're called hand levers. You know the difference. So there's one pedal steel idea. Here's another one. Sticking in the key of E, pedals down, 9th fret. You have an E voicing there. If you release the pedals and glist down 2 frets, you're going to hit an A voicing. So you can go from 1 to 4 very easily. E closed at 9 to A open at 7. Backwards. That's A to E. E to A. Now similarly, we can go and find our 5 chord closed position at the 4th fret. There's our B. And the same formula kind of works. It takes us down a 4th back to the 1 chord. So we could go B closed at 4 to open E chord at 2. So here's a little exercise. You can do it in any key you'd like. And the exercise would just be E to A, E closed at 9, A open at 7, B closed at 4, E open at 2. So smoothly, let's just strum. Alright, and you can figure out any kind of permutations you'd like. Here's 1 to 5. That's open E at 2. To closed B at 4. Open A at 7. To closed E at 9. Open E at 14. So you can move these positions all over. A at 14th fret closed, B at 16th fret closed, E open at 14. So however you want to torture yourself to figure out different chord combinations, that's a great way of starting to know where the closed and open positions of your chord voicings are on the neck. All right? So one more thing, I've been purposely staying away from the kind of the country glist that you know that's so indicative of pedal steel playing. It's that lick that everyone loves to hear. So let's talk a little bit about that. I call these the A and B pedal because they, in a simpler fashion, mirror what the A and B pedals do on an E9 pedal steel in Emmons tuning. The A pedal typically will move the fifth interval to a sixth, or if you're talking about the chord that it's becoming, it's actually the second interval to the major third, and similarly either the major third to the four, or if you're talking about the next chord, it's the major seven to the root. Right. So the way that pedal steel players do with their feet is they keep part of their left foot on the B pedal and rock with their other side of their foot on and off the A pedal to get that. Similarly, to get those licks, we have to play with our B lever down in kind of closed position. So all those licks are manipulating the A lever while keeping your B pedal engaged. B lever. So as you see, my B lever is down the entire time, and all I'm doing is different little permutation, licky stuff while using the A pedal. All right. So for an exercise to build on those chord changes, 1 to 5, 1 to 4, and then 5 to 1, you can build a little lick into the first chord of each passage. So the E could sound like to the 4, and then the same idea on the B chord, back to the 1. And again, we did a higher register lick to the A on 14, close. B closed on 16 to open E. All right. Well, there's some stuff to practice. I want to thank Chris Fouke again for doing such an awesome job putting these Duesenberg levers on his amazing indie rail. This is a super cool instrument. It's actually hollow, and if you see, my nickname is Slo-Mo, and he made the sound ports my nickname there. Chris told me this was a just sort of a no-name Korean-made humbucker, but it's pretty hot, and there's volume and tone, and this thing, you could run over it with a bus, and he could probably mold it back even better shape. So thank you, Christopher Fouke, and check out industrialguitars.com. He has many super cool instruments, lap steels guitars, and Barry guitars, and Barry lap steels, I think, too. All in this industrial aluminum mode, and they're amazing. So stay tuned for some more videos. I'm going to do one where I just roll through a pretty basic solo, and then maybe some little licks that might put you on to some other ideas of your own. And that's it. My name is Slo-Mo Brenner, and thanks for listening.